They lied to you, not out of malice, not to harm you, but because they didn't know better. They told you success was a destination, a mountaintop with a golden throne waiting at the summit. They said if you study hard, play it safe, follow the rules, you'd arrive. One day, somehow, the world would just hand you what you deserve. But the truth? The truth is brutal. The truth is blinding. The truth is, success owes you nothing. Nothing. Not for your struggle, not for your intentions, not for your good heart or long nights or even the tears you've buried into your pillow when no one was watching. The world doesn't reward your pain. It rewards your precision. It rewards your persistence. And it only opens the gates when you kick them in. You see, most people live in a waiting room, waiting for approval, for conditions to be perfect, for luck to fall from the sky. They say, when I'm ready, I'll start. When I have more time. When the right person believes in me. But the titans of history, Edison, Carnegie, Disney, Lincoln, they didn't wait. They acted while the world slept. They built while others doubted. They didn't beg for the light. They became the match. Because success, real success, is not about arrival. It's about alignment. It's about becoming someone the world cannot ignore, not because of noise, but because of value, so undeniable it shakes the ground beneath your name. And to reach that level, you need war. Not with others. With yourself, with your habits, with your comforts. You must tear down the walls of mediocrity that you've spent years unknowingly building. Every excuse, a brick. Every fear, a layer of cement. Every moment you said, I can't, I'm not ready. What if I fail? You strengthened the prison. But here's the secret. That prison was never locked. And the key? It's made of belief. But not the kind you post on social media with sunsets and hashtags. I'm talking about unshakable, unbreakable belief that doesn't flinch when storms hit. The kind of belief that wakes you up at 5 a.m. without an alarm, that keeps you going when the bank account says stop, that looks failure in the eye and says, not today. Belief that you were born for more, not because you're special, but because you're responsible. Responsible for the gifts you were given, the time, the breath, the chance to do something here, now, that echoes beyond your life. And here's the paradox of greatness. You won't feel ready. You won't feel qualified. That's the test. The gate to the next level is always guarded by fear. It's dressed as doubt. It whispers, who do you think you are? And you must answer, I'm the one who refuses to stay small. This world is not starving for talent. It is starving for courage, for men and women who move in spite of uncertainty. Who understand that clarity is not found before the leap, it's found in the air while you're falling, while you're learning to fly with wings you didn't know you had. Don't mistake this for delusion. This is discipline. This is vision. And it starts by cleaning the lens of your life. You've been told to hustle harder, to grind without sleep, but no amount of motion will help if you're running in the wrong direction. What you need is not just effort. It's intention. What do you want? No, really, what do you want? Not what they told you to want. Not what your parents thought was safe. Not what your friends admire or what gets the most applause. But what burns inside you like a fire you can't silence. What vision makes your heart race when you're alone? Because clarity is power. And when you know where you're going, the universe begins to move. Doors you thought were deadbolt shut begin to creak open. People you've never met are suddenly drawn into your life, not by accident, but because the frequency of your focus became a beacon. But clarity without purpose is like a map without a destination. And purpose, true purpose, is not comfort. It's not likes or followers or money stacked in digital accounts. Purpose is the pull of something greater than you. It's the invisible hand that drags you through pain and keeps you pushing when everything says quit. It is born not in comfort, but in collision with failure, with heartbreak, with limits you swore would break you. That's where purpose is forged. In the furnace of adversity, ask Thomas Edison. 10,000 failures, 10,000 rejections from reality. And yet he said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's the mind of a conqueror. That's the standard. And that's the truth no one tells you, that it's supposed to be hard, that it's supposed to feel lonely, that it's supposed to stretch you so thin you don't recognize yourself. Because the old you cannot carry the new dream. It must be torn apart, thread by thread, until what remains is something forged by fire. Now here's where most people fall. They start with clarity, they feel purpose, but they never build the bridge to action. Because action, real action, it's messy, it's quiet, it's thankless, it's you alone doing the work while the world scrolls past, it's writing that book no one reads, filming that video no one watches, showing up again and again when no one claps, no one shares, no one cares. But you do it anyway, because you're not here for applause. You're here for impact. And impact doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the shadows, in the repetition, in the devotion to the craft when no one's watching. The universe doesn't reward wishes. It rewards work. It doesn't care how much you want it. It cares how much you're willing to bleed for it. And that's why discipline is your religion now. Not motivation, not hype, not waiting for the mood to be right. Discipline, the daily decision to choose your future over your feelings. Every single time, because feelings lie. They whisper comfort. They pull you back to the old self, the easy path. But you are not a slave to comfort. You are not here to float. You are here to rise, to move through resistance like an avalanche. And that kind of momentum is born in routine. Routines become rituals. Rituals become character. And character becomes legacy. And when your habits align with your destiny, success is no longer a question of if, it's a matter of when. You see, success doesn't explode into your life like a firework. It seeps in quietly, patiently through every decision made when no one is watching. It walks in disguised as early mornings, as late nights, as uncomfortable conversations, and as sacrifices that won't make sense to most people. It creeps into your bloodstream through every yes to growth and every no to distraction. But here's the part they never told you. Discipline is not punishment. It's freedom. It's how you reclaim your life from the jaws of mediocrity. It's how you tell the world and yourself that your time is sacred, your mind is sharp, and your path is not negotiable. You don't need to hustle for 20 hours a day. You need to align 20 minutes with the fire in your soul. You don't need to drown in tasks. You need to master one thing with ruthless precision. Because it's not the one who moves the fastest who wins. It's the one who moves with intention, with clarity, with conviction that melts walls and parts oceans. The truth about success no one tells you is this. It's less about force and more about frequency. What you emit, you attract. What you focus on expands. And your emotional state is the magnet. That's why gratitude isn't some fluffy spiritual side quest. It's the fuel. Because a heart filled with gratitude becomes immune to fear. And when you walk in gratitude, you begin to see opportunities where others only see obstacles. You shift from, why is this happening to me, to, how is this happening for me? You stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. Gratitude isn't a feeling. It's a weapon. It disarms self-pity. It disrupts scarcity. It demands that you look at your life, not through the lens of what's missing, but through the miracle that you are even here, still breathing, still standing, still able to choose your next step. And choice is the ultimate power. Not talent, not intelligence, not luck. The power to choose your response, your direction, your truth, that is what separates those who wish from those who win. Do you understand what that means? It means even in your lowest moment, when your knees hit the ground, when your faith cracks under pressure, when the people you love the most walk away, you still have power. As long as you can choose, you are not a victim, you are a force. But the world will test that. It will give you setbacks dressed as endings. It will throw storms at you to see if you've really built a foundation or just a sandcastle of dreams. It will tempt you to shrink, to compromise, to fold. That's when you must become unshakable. You must choose resilience, not as a reaction, but as an identity. Let me ask you this. When life rips the plan out of your hands, who do you become? When the business fails, the call doesn't come, the numbers fall flat, do you collapse with the moment or do you rise with the mission? Because every storm is a mirror. It shows you what's real. And when you are grounded in purpose, no wind can uproot you. Thomas Edison didn't find light in the comfort of perfection. He found it in the ashes of persistence. Henry Ford was laughed at, mocked, doubted by the experts of his time until he built a machine that carried the future. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. He was fired from a newspaper job for having no good ideas. Today, entire kingdoms of dreams carry his name. Do you see the pattern? They weren't chosen by fate. They weren't marked by luck. They were forged through rejection, through failure, through belief that roared louder than circumstance. And that's what you need to build. Not a brand, not a perfect plan, but a resilient spirit. You do that by embracing the one thing most people run from: discomfort. Because here's the final truth: success isn't about more, it's about becoming more. And becoming more means shedding layers of ego, of fear, of false identity. It means outgrowing the old story, the one where you play small, the one where you wait to be chosen, the one where you apologize for wanting greatness. You were not born to fit in. You were born to set fire to every limit placed on your soul. You were not born to be realistic. You were born to rewrite the script, to look impossibility in the eye and say, "Watch me." Because when you do, when you step into that fire, when you choose courage over comfort and mission over momentary approval, something ancient awakens inside you. A memory of who you really are. Not the version shaped by fear, not the one silenced by doubt, but the warrior, the creator, the visionary who doesn't ask for permission, who commands their destiny with the energy of 1,000 suns. And in that moment, the world will not understand you, but it will feel you. Every room you walk into will shift, not because you spoke louder, but because your presence became undeniable. Success is not something you chase, it's something you radiate. You attract it by becoming a vessel of value, of mastery, of fire, so pure it burns through every excuse and lights up the path for others behind you. So let me say this now, loud, clear, and without apology. You were not made to be average. You were not made to shrink, to bend, to break under pressure. You were not made to stay invisible, to water yourself down so you fit into their comfort zone. You were made to build, to lead, to transform every ounce of pain into power. And the truth about success that no one tells you? It's not about arriving. It's about awakening. Awakening to what has always been there. A sleeping giant inside you, buried beneath years of doubt, hesitation, and conditioning. They never taught you this in school. They taught you how to memorize, how to follow, how to comply. But they never taught you how to ignite. They never taught you that your thoughts have gravity, that your words shape the texture of your future, that your inner world dictates your outer reality. But now you know. You felt it, that flicker, that trembling energy in your chest when you consider who you could become if you stopped making excuses. That tension between who you are and who you were meant to be. That friction isn't anxiety. It's potential. It's the signal that greatness is knocking and only you can answer. But answering that call requires sacrifice. It demands you leave behind what's familiar. The comfort of complaining, the luxury of victimhood, the seduction of being liked by people who have never stepped into their own greatness. You must walk alone, at least for a time. And that's why most never do. Because becoming extraordinary means becoming misunderstood. It means letting go of needing permission. It means owning your solitude as sacred, not as a sentence. That solitude, it's your sanctuary. It's where you sharpen your sword. It's where you meet the voice of your highest self, not the loudest voice, but the deepest. The one that says, "Keep going, you were born for this." You learn that rejection is redirection, that failure is feedback, that comparison is poison, and that the only race worth running is the one where you outrun the version of you that stayed afraid. And it will be hard. Let me make that clear. There will be days when you want to quit, when you'll question everything, when silence feels heavier than failure and the loneliness cuts deeper than criticism. But those are the moments that make you. Those are the chapters no one reads, but that define the entire story. Because success does not live in public applause. It lives in private choices. The choice to rise when no one's watching, to study while they party, to invest in yourself when no one claps, to stay true when no one believes. The choice to lead even when you feel like crawling. The choice to forgive not because they deserve it, but because you do. Because you refuse to carry dead weight into a future that demands flight. And here's the rawest truth of all. Success will break you before it builds you. It will strip you of who you think you are. It will dismantle the parts of you that needed validation. It will starve the old ego until only essence remains. It will humble you, humiliate you, test you, not because the universe hates you, but because it's preparing you for the weight of greatness. Because success isn't just about what you get. It's about what you can carry. The pressure, the responsibility, the influence, the eyes, the expectations. You want to stand at the top? You must become the mountain. And mountains are not built in a day. They are carved by storms, hardened by wind, defined by what refuses to move them. So stand firm. Ground yourself in values that don't shake. Build a vision so vivid, it pulls you out of bed even when hope feels like a ghost. Surround yourself with warriors, not yes men, not flatterers, but those who challenge your comfort and demand your highest. This is your proving ground. This is the part no one glamorizes. But it's the only part that matters. Because when you rise from this place, when you climb, crawl, bleed your way into alignment, something magical happens. You don't just chase success anymore. You become the kind of person who attracts it. It finds you, not by accident, but by resonance. You speak, and the world listens not because your voice is louder, but because it carries weight, it carries truth, and truth echoes. You walk into a room and you don't need to announce yourself. Your energy speaks, your integrity speaks, your scars speak, your evolution speaks. Because success is not what you do. It's who you become in the process. That's the truth no one tells you. Not because they don't want to, but because most haven't lived it. But now you're different. Because you see it, you feel it, and more than anything, you're ready. Not ready for ease. Ready for fire. Ready to forge the life that calls your name every time you close your eyes and dream. So rise, not in fear, but in fury. A sacred fury. The kind that builds empires, liberates legacies, and rewrites what is possible. Because you are not average. You are not here to survive. You are here to build, to blaze, to become. And that is the truth about success no one tells you. But now you know. So go show the world what happens when a soul sets itself on fire and never looks back.